Before Snowden, before WikiLeaks, and way before the internet could spread classified files in a heartbeat, governments around the world were already hiding things. Big things, dangerous things, projects so secret that even presidents weren't always in the loop. And yet, they leaked. This is every government project that was supposed to stay buried, but didn't. It starts in 1953. The CIA launches MKUltra, a covert mind control program. The goal? To find ways to control a person's thoughts. They used LSD, sensory deprivation, electroshock therapy. The worst part? Most of the test subjects had no idea they were being experimented on. Some were prisoners, some were mental patients, others were everyday civilians. One man, Frank Olson, allegedly jumped out of a window after being dosed without his knowledge. His family says it wasn't suicide, it was a cover-up. And they might be right. Decades later, MKUltra documents were partially declassified, revealing just how deep the rabbit hole went. But most files? Destroyed. Then there was Project Stargate. No, not the sci-fi show. This was a real government effort to weaponize psychics. The US military poured millions into researching remote viewing. The idea that someone could mentally spy on enemies from thousands of miles away. The CIA used psychics to try and locate Soviet submarines and hidden hostages. Sounds ridiculous, right? But it went on for over 20 years. One remote viewer, Ingo Swann, allegedly described the rings of Jupiter before Voyager confirmed them. By the mid-1990s, the program was shut down. Officially, they said it didn't work. Unofficially, some of the reports are still redacted. Let's rewind to World War II. Enter Operation Paperclip. After Nazi Germany fell, the US quietly recruited more than 1,600 German scientists, including war criminals. These weren't just engineers. These were men who ran human experiments in concentration camps. But America wanted their rocket science, so their records were scrubbed, their pasts erased, and they were brought to work for NASA and the military. Werner von Braun, one of Hitler's top scientists, later helped design the Saturn V rocket that took us to the moon. Officially, Paperclip was about winning the space race, but morally, it was a devil's bargain. Fast forward to the Cold War, and we get Project Grudge and Project Blue Book. These were government programs to investigate UFO sightings. Publicly, they were scientific inquiries. Privately, they were damage control. Pilots, military personnel, even astronauts reported unidentified flying objects. One pilot saw a glowing disc near his aircraft. Another spotted a fleet of objects over Washington, D.C. For years, the government denied everything. Then came the leaks. In 2017, the Pentagon admitted it had been running a secret UFO program, AATIP, that was followed by leaked Navy videos showing flying objects that moved in ways no aircraft should. For decades, the public was told they were seeing weather balloons. Now, even Congress is holding hearings. Then there's Operation Northwoods. This one never got off the ground, but it almost did. In the early 1960s, top military officials drafted a plan to commit fake terrorist attacks on US soil. The goal? Blame Cuba and justify a war. The proposals included blowing up a US ship, staging hijackings, even faking the deaths of American civilians. President Kennedy said no, but the documents sat classified for decades. When they were finally released, people couldn't believe how far the government was willing to go. Don't forget COINTELPRO. This was the FBI's covert campaign to surveil, infiltrate, and sabotage civil rights leaders and activist groups. Martin Luther King Jr., the Black Panthers, anti-Vietnam protesters, all watched, harassed, and in some cases dismantled. They sent King an anonymous letter trying to pressure him into suicide. They bugged phones, planted false stories in the media, and created divisions and movements, all in the name of national security. The truth only came out when activists broke into an FBI office in 1971 and leaked the files. In the 1970s, Americans also learned about Operation Chaos. The CIA was spying on US citizens, thousands of them, anti-war protesters, journalists, students. The CIA wasn't even supposed to operate on US soil, but they did. It took a congressional investigation, the Church Committee, to drag the truth into daylight. Meanwhile, across the ocean, the British government had its own secrets. The Zircon affair involved a covert plan to launch a spy satellite without telling Parliament. When a BBC journalist uncovered the story, his offices were raided, his documentary blocked, and the British public was kept in the dark. But secrecy doesn't last forever. In more recent years, projects like PRISM, X-Keyscore, and Tempora were exposed by Edward Snowden. These weren't science fiction, these were real-time surveillance programs, collecting emails, calls, texts, even webcam footage from millions of people worldwide. Some of it legal, some of it questionable. PRISM let the NSA access data from companies like Google, Apple, Facebook. Xkeyscore allowed them to search internet history without a warrant. And Tempora, run by the UK's GCHQ, tapped directly into the world's fiber optic cables. Snowden paid the price, exiled, hunted, and vilified. But the leak changed the world. And let's not forget Project Azorian. In the 1970s, the CIA tried to raise a sunken Soviet submarine from the bottom of the Pacific Ocean using a fake deep-sea mining ship funded by Howard Hughes. The operation cost hundreds of millions. They did manage to recover part of the sub, and maybe some nuclear missiles. It was one of the most elaborate covert operations ever attempted. The public didn't find out until journalists dug into declassified documents years later. So what does all this mean? It means the truth gets out. Not always right away, not always completely, but even the most classified, top secret, eyes only projects have a shelf life. Somebody always talks, some file doesn't get shredded, some footage leaks. And when it does, we realize just how little we really know about the forces shaping our world. MKUltra, Stargate, Northwoods, PRISM. These aren't theories, they're documented fact. And if this is just what got leaked, imagine what hasn't. Because for every secret that gets exposed, there are 100 more still buried in vaults, black sites, or locked behind classified stamps. Somewhere, right now, another operation is underway. We just haven't heard about it yet.